Mr. Russell.
Thank you.
Yeah. Please.
Well, we have a meeting on the 24th this month, and that's going to be the last one that will be back in person.
Okay, good.
I feel like this.
Hello.
Steve right now. I'd like to say hello to Dan Russell. How you doing, sir?
Good. How you guys doing?
Good. I guys, in another couple of weeks, we'll be meeting live in here.
Right.
So, things going for your first week or 2 weeks you've been on?
This will be my second week. Yeah,
Nice.
it's been great.
Everyone treating you all right?
Absolutely fantastic. Best
Good.
ever.
You couldn't ask for a better secretary than Debbie.
Oh, Tom.
Absolutely. I agree.
A better envelope stuffer.
All right, I think we have everybody. All right. This meeting, these things on. This meeting has been duly noticed and will be held in accordance with Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22, specific to recent amendments made in light of the current COVID-19 declared emergency, House Bill 197, amended by House Bill 404. Under the orders of Governor DeWine, the Architectural Review Board will be meeting remotely via electronic means. Roll call.
Mr. Mailsey,
Here.
Mr. Behrman,
Here.
Mr. Triner,
Here,
Mr. Lawler,
Here.
Mr. Phillips,
Matt, you're muted.
he's on mute.
Mr. Russell.
Here.
There you go. All right, first order of business, consideration of meeting minutes, May 27th, 2021. I know they all been sent out. Everyone has read them. Is there any comments or changes that have to be done? If not, I'd like to get a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, I'm going to move the proposals number 2 up to the first spot, seeing that's really just a sample review before we get into the additions and alterations on Tim Palermo. So we're gonna go with Jackie
Schneeweiss.
Schneeweiss.
Okay, close enough. All right, what I'm gonna do is we just were looking for the siding and the stone color on that. We approved the addition on 527 on 6819 Metro Park Drive. We're just looking for the comparison of the stone and the siding sample, which they've dropped off. That would be the stone. And this is the siding of it.
Let me see.
Hey, Carmen, are you able to back that stone up a bit?
You'll hold it.
Beautiful.
It's a
All
light.
right. I know it's pretty tough to tell on the screen, but it's like a tan with a nice gray siding on it.
Yes.
I don't think we went over all the siding corners in that last time when we did approve the addition. So if anyone disagrees with that, say it now, or I'd like to get a motion to approve those samples.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Mr. Mailsi,
Yes.
Mr. Behrman,
Yes.
Dr. Triner,
Yes.
Mr. Lawler,
Yes.
Mr. Phillips.
Yes.
All right, thank you. And that's all we needed for you today. And I appreciate your patience in getting that to our board on time. All right.
Thank you.
Now I'd like to go to the additions and alterations. Tim Palermo, 7097 Wilson Mills Road, contractor R&K Renovations. Please state your name, and I think we're just going to go over the few things that we tabled it from 513 and 527 with a few changes to the prints and window locations. And I think we had a brick painting decision on whether that should be done and the technical data on what should be used. So like maybe we should go over the prints first with the window locations and that. The trim on the windows. He did submit, I did see in the plans that he has submitted the wall detail and how that's getting finished. That was one of our other questions. The detail on the windows and the trim for the siding and that. I think we should go to the rear, what's it, was the rear elevation where the window decisions, or the west elevation, where I know he flipped the one bathroom window to the side and then just put two on that gable wall, which is a definite improvement over what we had.
Sorry.
So, I mean, on the south elevation, we didn't have that one single window that's actually called out as 18 and 17 there. Well, that's a trim from there, but that window was not there on the south elevation, which they moved in the bathroom out of the shower because that window was on the west elevation, grouped together with the other two there, which now does spread them out in a little bit more proportions than them being bunched up. Was the homeowner all right with taking that window out of the shower?
Yeah, we're fine with it. We have our exterior guy here with us. That's Will Randall. Just because if there's any technical questions in regards to the installation of the windows, like we asked him to join us just so he can be the professional answering you guys' questions from here.
Okay. I think our question was on whether they were going to do a sill or removing the sandstone on the front. I think that was originally.
I was gonna say, it looked like there was a section through one of the windows on the floor plan. Can we go to that section? Looks like A on detail A on, I can't read the bottom portion.
This one.
There it is.
Right, bottom.
Oh, wait. Yeah, we're looking for detail A on the right there. Yep,
This one?
that's the one. Yep, you got it. So. Closure for shooting.
So weren't we looking at how, like in this section, the wall behind and in front should show? Is it showing on this section? Can you pull that down just a little bit, please? There you go. And so what this is showing, if you, can you zoom into like the top head or the
Yeah.
sill? There you go. So what this is showing, I think, with the line beyond, is the trim at the top, the 2x4 wood trim, that's going to end up exactly flush with the wall, which would be the brick. Is that what this is? Is that accurate?
I don't know if that wall is actually not even showing a brick on it.
Okay, so were we looking at the sections where the windows were going in the brick? Wasn't that what we were talking about or not?
We're
So
originally,
this section was cut through that new bedroom window, so it should be, right?
we were looking at the front east elevation on the print. The windows, once they took the sills out of the windows and how they were going to address that and address the flashing going on, whether the windows are going to be inset and how they're going to trim that and flash that. Right now, they have a drawing of it just being in a wood wall, not so much a brick exterior wall. That was our question, was on the front elevation, correct?
Well, I
Yeah,
think the question was at all of the sills too, though. I mean, we wanted to see a typical section.
Right, how those sections are gonna mate with the brick, that there wasn't gonna be any caulking used to seal and things like that.
Yeah, there won't
Yeah, I
be.
think what we're saying here, though, is there's no brick identified on this detail.
Right, we need to see where the brick is.
I'm assuming those are true replacement windows, so they don't have a flange on them?
They are true replacement windows. Yes, sir.
Okay. So
They
then
won't have the new construction flange on them. They'll be a vinyl replacement, double hung windows, vinyl max going in to those openings.
right, so I guess what we're looking for is how your coil work and your one by is gonna be getting that watertight onto the brick with the flashing in that.
So
Yeah.
what we propose on doing is taking out the sandstone, putting in a new window sill, which will be pitched outward. So it'll be outgoing, pitched out away from the house so it can properly drain. Then we're gonna put exterior stops around the window. So it'll be a 2x. Basically it'll go and get Tapcon into the brick at the left of the window, the right of the window, and the top of the window. And then those will be then custom cladded with aluminum with a hugger bend going onto the brick and against the window. The only place there will be caulk will be where metal meets metal at the bottom of the at the windowsill area. So wherever metal meets metal, you always want caulk to seal that, but there won't be any caulk along the brick. So aesthetically, it'll look great.
Well, yeah,
So
but if
can
you
we scroll down a little bit? Do they show it
Let's look
still
at-
here?
That's right. Let's look at the sill. Because you're
Yeah, I don't
removing,
think they show it, so.
yeah, you're removing the existing sill, and that was one of our questions. How are you resolving this detail?
I'm gonna put
I
it.
just
I'm gonna put it.
I just heard somebody say that they're putting in a new sill that slopes.
Yes,
So
sir.
then why are you removing the sandstone sills? 1 and 2, where is the sill identified on
Yeah.
the drawing?
What
We're
you're saying
removing-
doesn't meet your drawings.
This is the first I've seen the drawings. Honestly, I'm sitting here at the meeting to answer any technical questions on how we're going to do it. All of that was supposed to be addressed prior to us sitting here. So I'm giving you and the reason we're removing the sills is because you guys didn't want the sills painted, because you don't want anything. So you didn't want anything painted for whatever reason. So we're going to clad it in aluminum. So everything looked the same, basically. So everything was.
So look, yeah, we appreciate that you're here for, the technical and how you're planning to install it. But what we're getting at here is that what you're saying is not,
Isn't on the drawing.
it's not reflected by the drawings.
In the first,
And so we have no record of that being the case.
In the first meeting, I believe they said they were going to keep the sandstone sills. That was the first meeting that then in the next meeting, all of a sudden we heard they were going to be removed. And then that's what drove us to want the details. Since you're going to take the sills out, what's the detail of replacing them with?
Yeah, I believe that the sills are being removed only at your guys' request.
We did not request.
We didn't. I don't think we did not ask that the sills be removed. I honestly am a proponent of keeping them. They're beautiful sandstone sills. I think you guys should add new sandstone sills at the new windows to match personally, but.
Okay.
So the reason we, at the very first meeting, had the point of removing the sandstone was we were intending on painting them, which was not well liked by the committee. So then we talked about replacing them in the second one. If it is the committee's or the board's preference to keep the sandstone sill, we can make that concession and we can add it to the windows and the other sections and the additional areas and the addition.
So, I mean, aesthetically and just for the house, I'd say opinion wise, I think the sandstone looks better, but we're not here to tell you one way or another, you need to have sandstone or don't. I mean, that's completely up to you, but what we do need is the detail to accurately reflect what's going to happen.
Well, if I can say something, if we can keep the sandstone on the existing, that's the best method to go.
Agreed.
And I mean, aesthetically, functionally.
And if you're keeping it on the existing, then I would then recommend you match the existing sandstone at the new windows as well.
Because the point of that, correct, sir, is always that you want the addition to seem as though it was always there, correct?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question for you on that point. Are you requesting that we show sills on the new part of the addition that's siding? Or only where there's brick?
We're gonna go with only where the brick is on the addition. That's where the point was coming up to, making them look the same as what you're replacing the front of the house. Are they getting inset inside the brick? And does that brick have the finished ends on the front to where when you put because if you just put 2x4s on the face of the brick and then try to flash to the brick, you're gonna have to caulk against the brick. And then you're literally just hoping that the caulk holds up against the brick to let the water run behind. Versus the window that.
Well, I apologize, sir. Can you repeat that, please?
On the front of the house, you're replacing the windows, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, the windows are being replaced everywhere.
Right, so and those are inset in stone or in this brick right now, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So those, but on the, so on the new section where the brick is and that, are those gonna be treated the same way? So you have a solid brick going around the window and the window's gonna be inset in there and then your trim? Is gonna
Well,
be
on the addition, sir, that's not brick.
Okay, let me see. Okay, correct. So again, I said, we're looking for the detail of the trim of the windows. Now, is that trim going to be inset in the brick or actually on top of the brick?
It's going to be on top of brick. It will not be into a reglet, if that's what you're asking. You're asking, is it going to be like cut into a reglet into the brick?
Again, that's where I think the detail is going to be, to where if you just apply 2x4s to the outside of the brick, you are going to have a flashing and a caulking issue going around the outside of it onto the brick.
If we have a return, we're not going to run it flat. We're going to run it with a return bend, so it's going to lay against the brick and it'll be nailed. The reason we're putting the nailer is to nail the custom casing to the 2x, and it won't be a 2x4. It'll be a 1x2, so it'll be smaller. So it won't be bulky. It's just so we basically have a nailer to nail the flashing.
But that's gonna be inset in the brick.
Would it be inset? Yes, sir. It will be. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I said, according to like the drawing that's submitted, that's showing the one by on the exterior of it, not on the face of the brick. And this does this.
Yeah, it won't be on the face of the brick. It'll be inset into the window itself. Yes,
Okay.
sir. It'll be like it'll act as a window stop. Is what it'll look like. So it'll be like a basic window stop on a wood common window. It'll act as that, just so we have something to properly flash the window to, so it's watertight. And of course, with spray foam and all that, insulated from when we install it as well. So that'll also be part of the process.
So is everyone on board realize what they're doing then?
Well, it sounds to me like they're going to set the windows back inward from the face of the brick,
Right.
including the trim,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
Which is a better detail than what they're showing. And then they're going to keep the existing sills,
Yes.
right? And so we,
Yes.
and hopefully those existing sills will go back under the face of the window and trim. Will there be trim on the top of the sill at the window, the same 1x2 that's going down, or not?
On the top of the window, yes.
Nope, on the top of the sill.
On the top of the sill, there'll be either the piece from the bottom of the vinyl that basically from the window, there's like a gapper piece that'll, if there's a gap there, it snaps into the bottom of the window and it regulates. Let's say sometimes there's a 1/2 inch difference, a 3/4 difference. It'll look like a continuation of the window.
Right. So Steve, saying that you're not gonna have a nailer there that you're gonna be covering up.
No,
on the bottom.
no nail. Only on the 3 sides. Only on left,
Okay.
right, and upper. Yes, sir.
Mhm.
All right.
There's no reason to have it on the bottom because we'll have the sandstone there.
That's what Dusty was just wanting to verify or clarify on that.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Are we gonna document this so that when it comes time for inspection, that we know it's been done right?
I mean, that's where we may have Dan, either I can write a note on the print for the windows to be, and window and trim to be inset on all brick exterior facades, not nailed to the actual face of the brick. That'll take care of that. And then this other wall section, I think, suffices for windows that aren't on the brick facades.
I can do that.
Okay.
I'm still not convinced that the window spacing on this elevation, the west elevation, is congruent or compatible with the rest of the windows on the existing building. So if we start at the left, we have 2 windows, one up and one down. They're lined up, they're centered. Come over to the next section, which is this little addition sticking out. There's 1 window that's centered. Then you come to the next section of the building. We have 2 windows. They are symmetrical within that section. Then you come over to the new addition and you have 2 windows which aren't centered or symmetrical.
And the right one is left the center of the peak.
So,
Yeah.
so one of the discussions with the architect was, well, why don't we just get rid of those windows off the back of the house there? But I didn't want to tell her to put that in the drawing because that wasn't what we talked about last time. The windows cannot shift any more to the right because then we run into the situation where they hit the bathroom again. So we feel like we could successfully get rid of the windows off the back of the house because if you look at the, if you could scroll down, I'm sorry. This north elevation, I mean, that is the side of the addition which has a sufficient window light coming in. So we feel like we could lose those 2 off the back of the house. So if you felt more comfortable with that.
Can you go back up to the west elevation, please? I don't think you need to get rid of the windows. I mean, you had one in the shower area before, correct?
Yes.
So that the window that's currently showing somewhat centered, if that was moved over to where they look like they were balanced, that would look better than what you have now. And alternatively, if you just remove that window and left the one showing on the left side, that would look better than what you have now because, and maybe change the shape of it because what you're showing now, I mean, it just creates like dissonance in the design. It's not balanced, it's not symmetrical, it's none of those things. And where the rest of your building is. I don't know that you need to get rid of them. It's just not compatible with the design of the rest of the building.
So if we removed W or number 5, it's marked there. If we remove that and left the other window in place, would you want to see that window size grow or be the same dimensional size?
But you know, you have an architect on this project, and you know, that's what, I'm also an architect. This is what we're trained to do, is to make a design that looks appealing and has some logic to it. And it seems to me your architect should be able to do that.
Just from an aesthetic standpoint, the window in the middle, if that was moved to the left and you took the middle on the right out, at least it would balance with the one section there, that the little section that comes out, and also with the left part of the house. All those windows are centered on the peak and make it a little bigger. You know, again, like Steve said, you have an architect looking at this and you keep referring that we're telling you to do stuff. Well, you have an architect that's designing this system. So I would think that they would be able to know this, what the aesthetics of the building should look like.
I think the architect, I'll give him a little help here. You see that he's not being here. On this set of prints, we don't have the floor plans. I think a lot of that has to do with the orientation of the room inside, because that window that's off center looks like it was pretty much up against the bathroom, if I remember the floor plan.
It was in the bathroom, Carmen. It was over the shower. And then they had 3 windows originally. And the one on the left was all the way against the corner.
Right, but there's a shower wall to the right of that window.
Right, there is a shower there. At one point, we had a window in that shower.
Right, they took that out and moved it around the side to over the toilet for us. Okay, and then that pretty much left those 2 windows basically where they were at.
What's to the left of that middle window?
What's that?
What's to the left of the middle window, Carmen?
I think the room starts probably about a foot to the right of that window that's in the center, to the right there, and then the bedroom goes from that window all the way to the left.
And what he's trying to do is center the windows on where he's showing the bed. So that when you're in the room and you're standing at the foot of the bed and look towards the wall, you see the windows balanced with the bed. I think that's his goal.
In the room, because the shower is to the right there, takes up that space. That's why they had the window in there. I was getting too cramped and we're like, why do you even want the window in the shower? And we told him to move that around the side. Now, whether he can go with one single just to the left of the peak or just centered on the peak. But I know originally the print, we had the actual floor plan, that's the room that those windows were spaced out evenly interior wise. Again, we can go around with this. And yes, it's not perfectly aesthetically. Can we go to one window? But I think that's putting it over the bed. I think the bed was against that back wall. I'm not quite sure.
Well, you know, you can.
Or Tim, do you know where you're?
Yeah, so the bed is placed at the back of the wall, and that's why our architect had positioned those windows as she had, so that they would be on one side of each of the bed.
Right. So, do you know who Frank Lloyd Wright is?
Yes, sir.
So when he designed a house, he would also design the furniture, and he would design where he placed the furniture. And there was a couple that he would visit that he designed their house for. And after they had gone to bed, he would rearrange the furniture back the way he originally arranged it in his design. My point being, you're putting a bed and you're in this room and you think that you're going to predict how the future owners are going to arrange their furniture in this bedroom. When I look at your floor plan, that bed doesn't have to be there. That bed could be on the other wall. I think you're trying to force something for your room that may not happen. I mean, this is your plan where the bed goes, but the reality is that room is large enough. There are 2 walls. There are 3 walls that bed could go on. So it could go on the north wall.
Agreed. And we're not reviewing bed placement. We're reviewing the windows.
Tom,
I think what we're talking about here. No,
excuse me.
I'm on your side,
Excuse me,
Steve.
I'm
I'm
talking.
saying what we're.
Please, excuse me. What I'm saying is you're forcing these windows to be at a certain place on the elevation, and it's not absolutely correct. What's going to last for a long time is where these windows are showing on the exterior of the building. What's not going to last is where you think they're going to put the bed. And we need to make the exterior of this building, your addition, compatible with the design of the rest of the building. And what I see on your elevation isn't doing that. And what I see for your reasons for doing it aren't really holding water. I'm sorry, Tom, if you need to say something, I just wanted to finish my thought.
I just think we're beating this to death. It's like, let's cut to the chase here. We're not happy with the revision. We're not reviewing the beds, and that doesn't matter to us where the bed goes. Window adjustment is not something I would vote to approve.
All right, so what would you suggest then, Steve? 1 window, then being above the bed, or a transom, or?
Well, what I'm suggesting is I'm not designing this building for him. He has an architect that should know what he or she is doing. If he or she has been, educated and has a license and everything else, she has had to have had the training and the internship and everything else required to know how to design this. Look, we've given our feedback that the addition isn't compatible with the rest of the building. That's pretty simple. What's so difficult to understand about
I just think that
making the windows in the addition compatible with the design of the rest of the building?
You have 4 sections of this back that the windows are compatible with the framing. And the 5th section, they're not. So, I mean, I think Steve's point is pretty clear. And we are not being paid to design this, nor is it our responsibility to design this layout. It's your architect's responsibility to come up with the design that's compatible with the rest of the building. I don't know how much clearer we can tell you that.
I understand your guys' perspective. I just feel that from her perspective that she disagreed with your first perspective, and she didn't feel that it wasn't not. That
She's welcome to attend the meeting and voice her opinions. I'm honestly ready to make a motion to table at this point, and I will continue to table until we see something that's suitable and meets the standards that we've voiced through 3 meetings now. So we can't continue to have hour-long meetings about the same things.
Right. This is the 3rd time we've discussed these windows. It wasn't changed from the first time that you agreed to change them. So maybe we should bring the architect in, as Tom is indicated. I'm getting tired about talking about this thing already.
If I can intervene for a moment, is it the installation of the windows? Where do you gentlemen stand with that? Just so I understand.
Well, we're doing installation of the windows. I'll write that on the print. I can make a note of there, but it sounds like we're not going to get a form to approve the prints
The placement.
as with relations to the windows on the back.
But I'd like to comment on that, Carmen, please. If we're going to table this and see it again, then we should be able to see an accurate section detail of the window installation.
Well, that's what I was going to get to. I would have finished, I'm like, if we're gonna have to come back, then we can get a section drawn, which is gonna take long, of the window installation on the brick face of the house, for they're leaving the sills, showing that the window's actually inset back on the brick, how it's, basically flashed or caulked or trimmed in, being insets for water not to be dripping down the window. I don't know if we're gonna go over the painting of the brick. I know we have some stuff that was passed through us by emails of materials and that. I don't want to have this come back to us for a fourth time. I'd like to get this done. So I don't know if we want to go over I know we have stuff from Becca about materials that could be used on painting the brick. I read through it, it's like a 20-year paint and the way it soaks through the brick, and if we wanted to go through that this way, they know that this would be the last time, or again, I want to give them something that they're either going to say, we're going to say, if you put one bigger window in, centered on the peak, that's fine. What would be the other option? Just one window on the left? Or if he's doing two windows, well, he can't do two because he can't get them spaced out because then he's into the shower. So I see.
He did that before, Carmen. He had a window in the shower before.
Steve, he had a window in the shower. He had 3 windows back there.
Right.
All right. He moved the one out of the shower and put it around the side of the house, leaving the 2 back there that he actually made the same size. I think there were two or three different sizes originally. He did conform and put the 2. And I'm assuming if I had the floor plan, that those are centered or in the room, which again, which is fine. But again, to getting back to the floor plan, if you want to try to put a window in the center of that peak, it's going to be probably pinned up against the wall on the interior. That's what we want to make.
It would end up against the bathroom wall.
Correct. I know that. Let me try and get to that floor plan. So again, are you fine with one window on the left on that whole wall, or no windows?
I mean, I would prefer just to get rid of the windows off the back, because then it leaves plenty of options for the future buyer as to where they would place their bed. And then we don't have to worry about them being balanced and consistent.
Right. My only question is, I don't know if you look at the layout of the room, do you have an egress out of there? If we remove those windows?
There's another window.
Yeah, there is another window. I think she has it marked as the north elevation.
Yeah, the slider, or yeah. No, we're on
No.
the left.
Yeah.
See, the 2 windows were, and you had the shower there, which where that other window was. We took the one out of the shower, we nice and put it around over the toilet and left those 2, but he can't come to the right because he'd be back in the shower, and he's more or less doing that in the room, but they do have the other window on the other side. So we could, the solution would be no windows on that side, or kind of maybe centered in that peak, which would be offset or something transom window.
Well, or, if you look at this floor plan, there is a window at the bathtub. If you remove the window where the hand is, and then evenly space the 2 remaining windows, the one in the bathtub and window number 6 or 8, I can't see it clearly. You're almost there. You're almost to a balanced symmetrical design.
You're saying put the one back over the bathtub?
Well, that's an option.
Right.
Again, I'm not designing this. Their architect needs to.
So I want to give him a definite, if he comes back drawn, either with, are we good with no windows?
My preference is that there would be windows.
Okay, code wise, Dan, do we need a window on that wall?
You just need a large enough window that complies to the emergency egress and light and ventilation. I don't know what size window that is right there.
Mhm.
If that one complies to all those standards, you don't need another window. You don't need any other windows.
Okay. So
So I think what we're saying is if you ultimately decide to remove windows
yeah,
and you still
either
meet those standards,
balance the windows out, putting the one back in the tub, which I don't recommend, but eliminating the windows altogether. Or again, I think maybe even some transom window up high centered in there off that bathroom wall may give you enough light and be centered in that wall. But they're just looking for consistency on the outside is what we're looking for.
Oh, I understand. I mean, I'll probably, what I'll probably do is I'll have her draw it both ways, without the windows at all, and then the option with the window back in the shower, and let you guys pick which one you like better.
Well, again, I mean, I do want you to make your customer happy. I didn't know if she really wanted a window and shower, and then she's just gonna have one on that wall in the bedroom, but as long as that back wall is congruent and equally spaced, we're not gonna have a problem with that. If you come back with no windows, 2 windows, as long as they're spaced equally, or what are your guys' thoughts on a transom high, as long as it's centered on the peak? We want to do something over the bed for more light.
I like that idea.
If that would work, yes.
Okay.
I mean, I'll add one more thing, you know, this is an addition, right? So the architect could play around with how the bathroom is laid out to bring things into a compliant look outside and, you know, to the customer's liking on the inside. So,
Well,
I mean,
that's, at least the architect will know what we're looking for on the outside, on the
Right.
rear.
but I'm saying that the architect is not locked into that design right now. They can try out different layouts, and that's what their expertise is in. And to
Based
try,
off of the entrance to the room, in our opinion, that the bathroom being positioned over there makes the most sense because it provides the most amount of privacy. That's the reason for the bathroom and the closet being placed on the outside part of the house, where we have it set currently based off of attaching to the existing house. The entrance provides the most amount of privacy with the bathroom. where
Yeah,
it
and
currently is
to
at.
Jim's point, you could flip the walk-in closet in the bathroom and not have any real substantial change to the function.
Again, let the, you guys are all for the architect doing his job, so let's
Yeah.
see what they want to come up with.
I'm just saying that we're not locked in. There are options if you look at it. And that's the architect's job, is to look at it. And I don't feel like I need to be in the position that people keep saying that it's our idea. We're telling you what we're looking for, and nothing keeps changing. Nothing is changing, or it keeps changing in the wrong direction. And again, to Steve's point, there's an architect involved in this, and they know what the rules of the game are, and they should look at it and give it some honest thought.
Yeah, and the answer that the architect disagreed with us, in my opinion, is not a good answer. She can disagree all she wants, but that doesn't mean I'm going to change my stance on this.
Absolutely. We're not trying to get you guys to change your stance. We'd rather you just tell us where you want the windows, and we would put them gladly there so that we could appease you and move on with the project.
Let me reiterate, it's not our responsibility to tell you where the windows are supposed to go.
I do understand that, sir. It's not your responsibility, but you are saying you currently don't like where the windows are.
Well,
So
we're telling you
ultimately-
why we don't like them. We're not telling you where they put them or what they should be. We're asking you from an aesthetic standpoint to look at the design and come up with an aesthetic looking design. Don't keep putting it back on us that we're telling you where to move the windows and not move the windows.
Yeah, I mean, quite frankly, if your architect has to have gone through other architectural review boards and received other approved drawings, this is not unstandard.
And she said it wasn't by any means. So we're not trying to be difficult on our end. I promise you that.
Right, and then we don't have the impression that's right, so I just want to make sure that, the next meeting, if you're, convey to your architect what we're looking for, that we can get this done in one more meeting and, we all be happy and get the project moved on.
Sure, absolutely.
I would strongly suggest that the architect be at the next meeting.
I will ask her to be here, sir.
Okay, now do we want to go over the painting products? Are we gonna have any questions on that? I know Steve submitted, or we got emails, and I'm sure that, did this go to Tim and Matt? The specs on the painting and everything. So Tim, you got the specs and the painting and the products and stuff like that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if let me ask the rest of the board. Is everyone in agreement that this is an acceptable product to paint the brick with, if they want to go ahead and go to painting the brick? I'm looking for a little input.
So it appears to be based on quick review. However, for the sole reason that I would walk away from a job before I would ever paint brick for a client, it will be the reason that I will not vote to approve brick painting. It's not the right thing to do for a structure or for future homeowners. And for that reason, I would not vote to approve painting brick.
Which doesn't mean that we're not gonna have a quorum or be able to pass it. There would just be a no on the vote. I'm just trying to see where we're gonna stand on the painting if he uses this product.
Just be aware that this product isn't foolproof either. I mean, it's a big improvement over acrylic paint, but it still is a limited time product.
This is correct.
And the only thing that concerns me from the future, if this house is going to be flipped or sold soon, what happens if the new homeowners move in and they're not aware of that this special product has been used on the brick? And they say, oh, we want a brown house, or we want a red house, or we want an X color house. And they go out to the Home Depot, grab a can of acrylic paint and paint over the white, this white special paint.
Well, Jim, to your question there, a homeowner can do whatever they want to their house without even coming to us to paint it.
Yeah, but if they're going to be putting a paint on that's not compatible, that doesn't make sense either. And then to Tom's point.
But if they're bringing it to the board with the, seeking a permit on it and everything like that, I just want to let them know what, in the next meeting, what we're going to be, or what we're going to suggest, recommend, not approve. Steve, you're the one that sent this stuff out, correct?
I sent the notes from the Brick Institute, and I recognized in the original submittal for the Sherwin-Williams duration paint that it was not listed to use on brick. So the applicant came back with this BecoSil product as an option. When I read the spec sheet on the BecoSil, it appears to be made to paint brick.
Okay.
And have the permeability, etc. So that's my comment. Now, that's not the philosophical discussion if the brick should be painted or not.
So I don't know if we should ask this now, but if we were to take a vote, what would your vote be if they use this product?
What I will say is this product appears to be an appropriate product to paint brick if that is what's going to happen. If the brick is going to be painted, this would be the product that I would pick to do it. I'm not saying it's a good idea to paint brick. In fact, if you read the technical notes in the brick industry, it says clay masonry requires no painting or surface treatment.
So the reason we selected this product is because they have gone to the Bricklayers Association, which is an annual meeting held by the brick industry, and they've performed their paint products there for that. So while I understand it might not be a preference matter, my understanding from the last meeting was that if we found one that fit the criteria for painting brick, that would be what was required.
Right, and again, I read through it. I'm fine with it, so I'm not afraid of putting it on a record. I would vote that if you still want to go ahead and paint the brick, I would be fine with it. Now, if we're gonna have to wait till we actually vote on it, I can't say what the other board members would say. I think it's a fine product, and
Yeah, look, if you're looking to get an idea what the vote count's going to be, my vote will be no. For
Well,
any painting of masonry, brick masonry, clay masonry.
how do we address Jim's point, which I think is a very valid point, that if, let's say, Mr. Palermo paints this brick with an appropriate product like Becosil. The homeowner moves in and then paints it with an inappropriate product because doesn't like the color. Then we've got the same issue that we're concerned about with painting the brick, that, brick doesn't need to be painted.
and it's no matter what. Someone wants to paint the brick on their house, they don't have to pull a permit to paint brick.
That's my point. And they're gonna use an inappropriate product against one that is approved for brick.
Again, that's happening all the time, all over. We
So
can't-
basically, if they decide to paint the brick, if he doesn't paint the brick here and somebody buys the house and they come and paint it on their own, they don't have to pull a permit for that, so they can use anything they want. Anyhow,
Right.
at least now it's being painted with the proper stuff, correct?
At least we know if they came to the board, they will do it right on our end. It's all I'm
These
saying.
people will, but if somebody else buys a home, they can just paint it, not even
Right.
come in front of the board.
Correct.
I would be happy to make sure that the future buyer is left with a data sheet as to what was used, so that puts that concern out of your guys' mind, that they at least are familiar with the product that was used. And that
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying I'm for or against painting brick. I've done 100-year restorations where we power washed, had to do the lead abatement off of paint that was on brick and stuff like that to get it back. I mean, it's gonna be more so, it would be a city ordinance where we say no one's allowed to paint brick or stone in our city, period. And that's what if the board concludes that, that's for another date or for the law director. I'm saying on this project, right now, it seems like we either may have two votes, yes, two
If they
votes, no.
disrespect Becosil, I would vote that, they could paint it.
Right. So I have a feeling that, you'd be able to paint it with this product.
Thank you.
If, I think Dan may get called up to make his last vote. Building commissioner, but to break the tie if we had a tie. But okay, so that being said, so we're gonna table this one more time. And we want, please bring a detail of the how the windows are get inset into the brick. Along with the drawing of the rear of the house, whether we have no windows, one large window, as long as it's centered or symmetrical in the back of the house, I think we'll be good with this.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. All right. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Right. Well, I'm sorry, I need a motion to table this till the next meeting. I'll make the motion to table it till the next meeting.
I'll second.
Second, third.
Mr. Mailsy,
Yes.
Mr. Behrman,
Yes.
Dr. Kreiner,
Yes,
Mr. Waller,
Yes.
Mr. Phillips.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to conclude the meeting.
Are we going to be together in the same room next meeting?
June, July.
One more meeting. Why don't we adjourn the meeting, and then anyone wants to stick around for a couple minutes?
Okay,
Why?
Because if you're still having a meeting, you're not supposed to go offline.
Oh, okay. All right, then, yeah, we'll have to,
It'll be a Zoom meeting on
yeah, it'll be a Zoom meeting on the 26th or
24th.
24th, and then we'll be back in this room for the next ARB meetings. All right. And, do we want to have a discussion on the window thing? Personally, I think it's the back of the house. Okay, I can go back and forth with the architects all day long. It's like designers and decorators. Things change every 15, 20 years. You brought up that Frank Lloyd Wright. Have you been to a lot of his houses? I think a lot of them are uglier than hell heck. Okay, I don't think he has anything with spatial stuff and centering stuff on the exterior walls and everything like that. I've been in houses where he has windows going up steps and out of place. So I don't think that was a good example to bring up a Frank Lloyd Wright house.
well, I used to be the caretaker of a Frank Lloyd Wright house in Oberlin College. Oberlin
Okay.
College actually owns Frank Lloyd Wright house.
Spatial house, but again, it is the back of the house. Again, you look at the back of some people's houses, even mine, there ain't nothing spatial on mine. It's the back of the house. It's what works in the room.
Well, have you been to this site, Carmen?
No, I haven't been to the site.
Okay, so the building sits at an angle on a corner. Every elevation of this house is visible. It's not like there's a front and the back. Every elevation is visible because of the way it sits. It doesn't sit square to the corner. You can see the back of this house you can see the house on all four sides from the streets or the neighbor.
And regardless of any of that, I mean, how many people have come in and we've approved in 5, 10, 15 minutes? They come in with a plan, they have the proper submittals, they have, drawings that are adequate. This is the third meeting we've had to table this. His architect is failing him. He's not pressuring them the right way. They're not responding appropriately. It's just the skinny of it. I mean, there's no two ways about it. They haven't addressed the concerns. The concerns that they have attempted to address, they have addressed improperly.
I
Still,
I agree.
detail.
I wish we would have been a little bit more forthright and saying, okay, this is what we have to have. When we were talking about moving that window, I thought we got those two that were paired together, almost together, in that shower, one wrapped around the corner, that was going to be symmetrical enough on where the house is actually stationed. But again, I just want to, also be an advocate for the builder homeowner that, again, I'd like to give them a little leeway on the back of their house to where they're comfortable with their design on the interior. The next person, if they don't like it, they can remodel, they can cut the wall open and move the window. I mean, I'm in the remodeling business. It's not a big deal. Okay. Again, it's not like the front of the house where it's actually driven by and seen all the time. Those are only my thoughts. I mean, I think.
I hear what you're saying, and I'm a red-blooded American. I think every American should be able to do what they want. But however, it's like these are the things we discuss in every single meeting, and we can't change our standards for one guy versus the next. He needs to meet the same standards everybody else meets. Those windows they're just not symmetrical or balanced, just like the rest of the houses. I can't argue with Steve on that.
Stuff that hasn't been symmetrical before. Every house addition does not always have to meet being able to be put on a house.
But if the rest of the house isn't symmetrical, then that comes into play. This house, they are.
I mean, if you want to make an argument, the front of the house is. No, don't get into this with me. The front of the house ain't even symmetrical.
You know what? I'm going to just go ahead and say good night then, Carmen. I don't appreciate it. So you have good night. We'll see you next meeting.
That's fine. All right. Any other questions? I'd like to adjourn.
Well, I'll make one comment on it. I think that, you know, we've talked to this, you know, applicant. This is the third time already. The first time we addressed the windows, he says, okay, he'll take care of them, he'll balance them. Okay, he comes back with the second meeting, they're worse than the first time, okay? He says, okay, well, I'll take care of it, I hear you. He comes back again, it's still not fixed, okay? So this is the third time, and then he's trying to put it back on us that we're telling him what to do, okay? And
Well, basically, we are telling them what to do.
well, we're
If we're going to approve something,
what the problem is.
well,
And-
if
and
we're
he's
going to
not-
approve something and tell them what to do, tell them what we're going to approve, then we're telling them what to do. So if we're going to tell them what to do, we have to tell them exactly what we want, not,
Well, I think we've told them what we want. We want a symmetrical looking window on that elevation. Is that so hard to understand?
it's time that we're going to get it.
No.
And one of the other issues, I don't know that you're aware of, Carmen, because you weren't at the first meeting, was their architect, their drawings don't match the house. We took photographs. Actually, I went down there and took photographs because I noticed when I reviewed the drawings the first time that it just didn't feel right. So I decided to go down there and I took photographs of all sides of that house. And then I compared them to the drawings and they didn't match at all. Windows were not the same size. It just really caused concern for me that even what they show is not what we're going to get. And that goes to the detail issue where, you know, needing to see this section, because what they tell us and what they do, I don't have any confidence that it's going to happen just because of the experience we have with this.
Well, that's why I'm make sure you're mounting to the bricks. I know if you mount it to the brick, you should cut the flashing into the stone, into the brick, if you're going to wrap it 2x4 on the outside. So it's actually truly a flashing. But no one ever does that. No one does that on fireplaces on the roofs either.
And then I agree with Jim. You know, our direction is make the window spacing compatible with the rest of the elevation where everything is balanced. And we've told them that every time. And every time he's come back, he shows us something that's not balanced. That's really simple direction. And no, I am not going to tell him where to place his windows.
Okay, well, I said, I mean, I was in the last meeting when we told him to take the one out of the bathroom and flop it around the side. So we didn't have the two up against each other, paired on the right, and then the one on the left. I did not know that we were really looking for a full symmetrical, which would have been leaving that one in the shower and having the room be the way it is. I mean,
And again, to Jim's point, those rooms could be redesigned. That bathroom doesn't have to be where he's showing it.
Well, yeah,
You know,
I mean,
and the exterior of the house, you know, I think of it, it's kind of forever. You're right. On the interior, they can remodel it, they can change things around. But when he places those windows and it doesn't look compatible with the design of the rest of the house, it's going to be like that for 50 years. And the neighbor next door looks right at that elevation.
again, like I said, I mean, I just, with Tom saying everything's got to be symmetrical. If you look at the front east elevation, those windows aren't symmetrical. Again, it's, there's a certain thing I have concerns about that, voicing an opinion when there are sections of the house that aren't and are, we are here to give a little leeway to the customers. Again, and that's a big enough wall and we know what's going on in the house. Again, if we're going for true symmetry on there, then fine. We can either make them put it back into the bathtub, take them all out, and then just have the one window. That's fine with me. I just know where we left it. I wanted him to come back one more time and hopefully have a solution to this,
Yeah,
Either
I'm really
way.
surprised. I'm really surprised for the third time he didn't listen.
Okay.
It's kind of disappointing. Yeah, I'll make a comment too on the paint. Does he realize that paint is $100 a gallon and he has to use 2 coats of it? Plus he has to use a $50 a gallon prep.
Again, if we're not around our city, there are houses that have painted brick on them also. I mean, again, it's one of those.
My point is he going to say, oh yeah, well, you use this product and then they'll be cutting corners on applying it?
Well, we can make sure that he does
That's
use it.
Dan, I guess that's Dan's job, right?
Right?
Yeah, and that's another concern, Carmen, is this guy's a flipper. He's not living in this house. He's not doing it for a client. He's just sprucing it up to make it look good, so it has curb appeal, so he can sell it.
And the other thing is I went down today and I took pictures of all the homes around him. And the home right across the street from him has the same brick. The one down the way from him has the same brick. The one on the right-hand side of him is brick and it has a painted siding on the top of it. And the one behind him has a brick front and siding on the side. And so, and when he paints that house white, it is going to stick out like a sore thumb in that neighborhood.
That's more of a designer.
But that's his prerogative. That's his prerogative. I realize that we can't tell the homeowner what to do, but as far as the paint goes, I did call Becca Sill and I talked to Matt. I think I sent everybody my notes on it, and that paint will work, but it'll wear. It's going to wear off eventually. It's going to wear off in 15 to 20 years, and then it's going to, you're going to have the brick coming through it. But it is a suitable product for water permeability.
Right.
All
All right,
right,
gentlemen, thank you. I am going to sign off too. I hear dinner being made, so I'm going to.
I'm going to adjourn the meeting. I'll need a second on that.
Okay. Carmen, thanks for your help. Everybody, take care.
Thank
All
you.
right. Goodbye.